Hi everybody, it's Amos. It's January 4th, I think, 2018, and it's the first blizzard of the year. I guess it's supposed to be a doozy. I don't own a television. Well, I mean, actually we have a TV, but I don't have cable. So I'm not really sure what blizzard this is, but it's like a big nor'easter. And so those of you that want to know what a nor'easter is, it's basically a wintertime hurricane. So you can have wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour and things like that. So we're in Maine and the snow is coming down and we're scheduled to get over 16 inches on this snowfall. And we're also coastal. So I think there's supposed to be some like coastal stuff going on too. So it just started snowing. It's been snowing for maybe about a half an hour and it's already like white and there's already a lot of snow on the ground. So it's here. So I thought I would do some kind of video blogging my life. I don't know. Just something fun for ha-has about what you do to prepare for a blizzard when you work from home. So number one, the most wonderful thing about working from home is I don't really have to leave the house if I don't need to. But of course we did. We went out and got breakfast because it's always important. Having a good meal to start your blizzard preparations. Very important. Then we went into the grocery store, of course, like everybody else does. We actually didn't really need to go to the grocery store. We were pretty stocked, but I went to the grocery store nonetheless and I grabbed some fun stuff. Hi, Crystal. I grabbed some fun stuff like some junk food, because I mean, what's a blizzard without junk food? So this is my preferred junk food. I really love these. Delicious. These are our favorite potato chips. They were on sale for $2.99 a bag. Henry has a little bit of a cough, so we grabbed pineapple juice. We don't own a plug-in can opener. So I would say as far as blizzard storm preparation, the very first thing you need to do is make sure you have one of these, because you will be up a freaking creek or down a creek or in the freaking muddy hole if you have a bunch of canned goods and no power. And flashlights. I have flashlights like everywhere. I have 3 or 4 in the drawer, in our utility drawer. I have 2 flashlights upstairs. I have a little like safety dresser. I call it my safety dresser. And it basically has like a candle, some flashlights and stuff for the kids upstairs. I have flashlights in the hallway closet. I have flashlights in the bathroom. I have flashlights at the top of the stairs to go to the basement, and flashlights in the basement. So that's also important, so flashlights. Then, of course, because we're in New England, and New England's known for losing power, and sometimes you don't know when you're going to get it. If you want to be able to take a poop in your house and flush the toilet, you need to fill up the bathtub. I don't know if you can see that. But filling up the bathtub is always really important. Number 1, you can flush. Number 2, if you need water to wash your hands because the water's not working, you need to be able to wash your hands and maybe wash dishes and other things. So having a tub full of water is really important. This is what we would call like the gray water. So this is not water I want my kids to drink. Right now it's fine because we just filled up the bathtub. But as we start using it for other things, I won't have them drink it. So let's go to drinking water. So important. Before a storm, I will do all my dishes. I do all my laundry. And I'm going to bake some bread. I'm going to put it in the bread maker because the storm just started, so I got a couple hours. And I usually make a gigantic pot of soup. I tend to make soup because number 1, I find soup pretty easy to warm up. But number 2, because the kids are outside and Joe will be outside in the snow, I just like the idea of having something warm. I get my soup going. I'll probably get my soup going like as soon as I'm done with this video. I might even do the soup making with Amos while I'm here on the thing. But I usually do my soup early and then I just keep it on low like all day. So it slow cooks and tastes fantastic, but then it just stays warm for that much longer. So, we also have this container. We're hardcore campers. So we have one of these jugs for drinking water. So I have to wash this. So we have a gigantic jug for drinking water. And then we've already filled up some extra jugs of water. The beautiful thing with living in New England when it's a snowstorm is we don't have to worry about the fridge because you can just stick stuff outside. So let's talk about my fridge. What's in Amos's fridge? Let's find out. So storm survival number 10. You always need cookies. A little happiness can go a long way during a storm. So we always get cookies. We always pack other things like coconut. A lot of fresh fruit is in the fridge because fresh fruit is easy. And then we tend to stock up on a good old-fashioned block of cheese for cheese and crackers, one of our favorite snacks. And, of course, cheese for our sandwiches. And then we usually stack up on lunch meat because we also have the dogs. And lunch meat doesn't need to be cooked, you know. So we tend to do that, tend to have hummus because of that nice protein. And, of course, because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm like hardcore, I'm going to take you in here. I'm a hardcore peanut butter lover. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 jars of peanut butter because why not? And this is my favorite brand of peanut butter right there. And then I really love this brand too. So this is the one I like to bake with and make into deliciousness, but these are for sandwiches. So this is like what I bake with and like, you know, put crackers and stuff. This always goes in sandwiches. So that is, so yeah. So seriously, 10 jars of peanut butter? Haha, but there's more downstairs. I don't joke around. Peanut butter is like, everybody loves it. We also take showers. So my kids are outside playing, but everybody's going to take showers because you might as well be clean because you just don't know. And then, of course, I'm going to take you into the game cabinet. We are hardcore gamers. We like a lot of board games. We're going to go into my library. I'm going to flip the camera around. This is my library. It's still kind of a work in progress. We're not allowed to put shelving units. So at some point, the library is going to look completely different. So these are makeshift shelves that are not mounted to the wall. And we still have lots and lots of books that still have yet to go on here. Usually there's deer outside this window. So if you ever see me photographing, all of that snow right there, the deer have dug up looking for food because we put apples out for them. So of course, books is always, we have puzzles, lots of puzzles. This is game cabinet. It's kind of disgusting right now. But we have like tons and tons of games, like all kinds of games and puzzles. And then there's even more here. So you have lots and lots of games. So having some entertainment, really important. And then probably one of the other things that we always do is make sure we have some geech. You need some cash just in case power's out, the place is still open. Sometimes gas stations and things, even though the power's out, they'll open because they know that people need emergency supply. So it's always good to have some cash in the house. And, of course, bread, right? Which I told you I was going to bake a loaf of bread, but we also defrost, usually an extra loaf. And then we will go and we charge up a bunch of these. I think we got these at like Walmart for like $10. So these are battery chargers for your phone, but you can run your computer off of these too if you have an extension cord. So usually we have like 4 of these because we run our business pretty much all off of cell phone. So we always need to have this stuff. So we charge all of these. So we have 4 of these ready to go. So at least we have service for important things. And then the other thing that I have, because I'm a weirdo, I have a crank radio. Solar powered crank radio. It always sits at my sink in the window. Crank radio with weather band. I happen to love this one. The flashlight, it has a flashlight on it. It has the radio. Here's the flashlight. It's been solar powered. The crank radio. This one is awesome because you only need 10 cranks and it'll run for like 20 minutes. So you don't have to spend a bunch of time, cranking it out. So I love the weather radio. I definitely think everybody should get a crank radio because it's just so important to have those kind of things. And that's pretty much like my thing. So here it is. They've already shoveled a little bit. So that's how much has fallen since pretty much 20 minutes before I started my broadcast. So it's definitely coming down pretty quick. And it'll be here all day long. And I don't think it's going to stop till tomorrow. So over 16 inches is predicted. So that's probably the biggest storm I've had in one shot. So we'll see how that goes. So there's just a little something fun to talk about today. So I don't know if I've probably missed some stuff. That's basically what we do. I always clean my house beforehand. Plus I'm kind of like a neat freak. So I always clean up. I always make sure that I know where like the blankets are, which luckily I always know where the blankets are because I'm crazy. So the kids all have an extra blanket in their room. And then usually this is the blanket basket, but I've already distributed all the blankets. So my bed has 2 extra blankets. Henry has an extra blanket. Amelia has an extra blanket. And then there's 2 more in the library. And then there's 2 downstairs. So we have every room in the house has extra blankets. So that's important. And then in case the heat goes out. And then the other thing I usually do for a storm, is this like the funniest video or what? The other thing I usually do is jack the heat up. So I usually put the heat up to about 72, which is a lot higher than we usually use. We tend to be like in the 68 range. So sometimes I will do like 72 to keep it kind of warm in here. As it starts to get into the evening time, I usually jack it up to about 74. And we'll just keep it hot in the event that if the power goes out, we have no heat. And as far as that goes, we actually do have a propane heater. So that runs off a propane tank. So we have those. And then because we're campers, we don't ever really have to worry about cooking our food because we have a propane grill, like a little camp stove that you would run with the little green propane tanks. So that's also part of my like prepping stuff is I always make sure that I have a propane stove. Oh man, they left the lights on downstairs. So every time I'm around places, I stock up on these. I stock up on these cans. And you can use these indoors. So we have cooked inside the house with one of these. So a little camp stove with those propane tanks. So I usually stock up on those. We have quite a few of these. And it's not that I'm like a crazy like prepper. I just think this stuff is like good to have. Plus we do a lot of camping in the summer. So we go through quite a bit of these. So I stock up on those usually all year long. And so usually when there's a storm, we make sure to have our grill handy. We make sure to have the propane handy. We make sure we have matches handy, flashlights, all the extra stuff, just in case, again, the power goes out. So I'm going to go downstairs and shut off my lights, because I really hate when the kids leave lights on. I'm just like, I don't want to pay for no one's down there. I'm a stickler with the power. I'm like, turn the lights off. So that's pretty much the gist of our prepping situation. Anything I forget? Did I forget anything, girls? Let me know. Of course, you can always comment on the video afterwards. I'm just a little nuts. Just a little nuts. But you gotta be smart. You have to be smart during storms because you just never know. And I think it's also very important to be, a little bit prepared in the event that you have friends that have to come over. Because when we were in Connecticut, I think it was 2011, there was a bad storm in October. The leaves were still on the trees. Storm came, knocked all the trees down, down because of the weight of the snow on top of the leaves. I had friends that were without power for 14 days. They were snowed in and no one could reach them. They were on top of a mountain. And they had a hard time. And they were not prepared, and they had 2 little ones. And I swear, ever since then, I've always been the kind of person that is like, you know what? We need to make sure that we're good. We're good, and we can last 14 days if we can't get out of our house or whatever. And we've had friends who have lost power for many days and had to come to our house. So I always try to make sure I have extra provisions just in case. So I don't think it's foolish to have extra food in the house and things like that, because you don't ever know. So that is Blizzard Prepping 101 with Amos. I probably missed a bunch of stuff, but whatever. Hopefully you girls thought this was a little kooky. And I gotta go wash the tub. Wash not a tub, but a drinking thing. And I'm probably gonna make some soup. So maybe I'll come back and do a live with soup. And then I'll get back to LuLaRoe. Bye, girls!